like teacher.
Yeah, it was obviously after the abuse, it got to a point where I thought it was going to potentially affect my family and put them in danger, so that's when I spoke up and said something, and it couldn't be about the child anymore, it had to be about my family, and I couldn't do that no matter what the attachment was and the bond was. I had to put my family first. So.
And how did you feel when John was convicted of sexually abusing you?
It was nothing ever sunk in. It was still very. Still to this day, I don't know how I felt. It was just very overwhelming.
Bit of a surreal situation.
Yeah,
I can imagine.
This was back in 2010, right? And then 2 years later, he was released in 2012. So it's just a 2-year sentence.
Yeah.
Did you see his family whilst he were in jail?
Yeah, his wife came down to the house opposite to pick up things and things like that. But that was about it. I made a scene because I hadn't seen the child in so long, because that bond was still there. You know, I went out onto the street and I was heartbroken.
Hard.
Because you got this attachment with the child, obviously.
Yeah, so she never came back down after that. None of them came back down. I mean, the zones were obviously put in place, and then, but I think it's disgusting and appalling how. Why only a year? A year doesn't do anything.
So for a year he wasn't allowed to visit anywhere sort of where you lived, or you know, there was an area.
It was still in the same town, just not. I took different routes to what he took, so I was never going to bump into him or anything like that. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So then, that zone that's put in place, the zone. But that's only for 1 year.
Yeah.
So then, after 1 year goes by, then what happens?
Then he can do what he wants.
And then that's exactly what did happen.
Yeah.
So a year or so goes by, and then what happens? You see him again at the house.
Yeah, I mean, the first day his hunts ended, he actually came down to his house and he started doing gardening. I mean, I rang my mum. I was in tears, and she was like, "No, Demi, this isn't real." You see, she thought something was wrong with me. She thought you know, I needed help. And I said, "No, Mummy's there." She went, "He wouldn't do that, you know." So I think for my safety, she actually came home. I don't think she believed he was there.
Yes,
I think she thought something was wrong with me. So she came home and obviously saw it for herself. Contacted police, social services. That's why this was allowed to happen. She kind of hit a brick wall, really, and no one was prepared to do anything. Said, "Well, it's his home. He can go there. He can do what he wants."
Obviously, your mum's not here today, but we've got a little clip of her here. This is completely torn your family apart, Demi.
Thank you. Yeah.
Faye, I come to you. Surely there must be a change in the law that needs to be put in place to, you know, Demi is the victim in this, but it's almost that she's been given a life sentence because, as you can see, it's completely torn her family apart, and it's still a massive problem for her.
That's right, and there are two things really going on. One is, I don't think there is a real understanding of what the impact of sexual abuse is on a child at the time as they're growing up and for the rest of their lives, really. It is a life sentence. It can be a life sentence, and you know, it just comes back, and the thought of the offender being released is a huge trigger point. And you know, Demi's coped absolutely fantastically, but other people don't. Other people don't survive.
Yes.
You know, Demi, to me, is the epitome of a survivor. She's absolutely speaking out for everyone, but not everyone does. The other thing that's happening is that the protections that could be there aren't being used properly. So the 2003 Sexual Offences Act set up sexual offences prevention orders, which can be put in place. They can be for a lifetime, and they can have things attached to them like restrictions on where somebody can live and what they can do. But you have to have committed specific offences. You have to have been in prison for a certain amount of time.
Could Demi have, I don't know, is there some sort of appeal or something to have extended this man's, you know,
the zone?
I don't know.
We've got good support at the minute. I mean, there's appeals, and there's one that at the minute, change.org, that everyone's going on to sign a petition and to basically try and help change some kind of law. I mean, it's not like I'm asking for, you know, I think what I'm asking is pretty small. I mean,
it should be automatic.
Just zones to be put in place for a longer period.
Well, for a lifetime.
How are you supposed to rebuild your life? I mean, I know not everyone's had to live across the road, but even if they don't, it's still a life sentence. No one should have to live with this.
Well, you've been so brave in speaking out, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that you know, we'll thank you for that and
Yeah,
applaud
it's
you
been
that.
lovely for support, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming in and speaking to us
Thank you.
today.
Thank
and the
you,
best
Demi.
of luck with that.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very
Thank
much.
you. And if you've been affected by anything we've been talking about today or need information from organisations who can offer help or advice, then please see our website.
We'll be back after the short break.
Welcome back. Now, a recent survey found that 79% of couples have at least 2 big arguments on holiday. Thousands of families find being away really hard and more stressful than being at home. With that in mind, Denise Robertson is back to take your calls and offer advice in our Holiday Agony phone-in.
OK,
Wow.
first up, Denise.
After what's just come through those phone lines, I'm going on holiday in 2 weeks, but I'm seriously now thinking...
I'm not going.
Yes.
All right, well, let's kick off with... we've got Kelly on the phone. Kelly, are you there?
Hiya.
Hello.
Hi, Kelly. What have you got for us?
Basically, my boyfriend and I booked a holiday, and he's sort of expecting me to keep his 3 kids in the room with me, and we're sharing separate rooms, and I just find it a really weird situation.
You're in separate rooms to your boyfriend,
I am, yeah.
and he wants you to have the kids in the room with you.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, Denise.
Well, the setup, as I understand it, is that there are 3 rooms booked by his sister and her partner. They're in one room, he's in another room by himself, and you are in the 3rd room with his kids and your kids.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't really think that's fair.
No.
And I'm wondering if he had a word with his sister and suggested maybe that was a good setup, because he's going to get some lovely night's sleep.
Yes.
And you are going to... I don't know how many kids are there altogether.
There's I've got my daughter, and he's got his 2 kids.
Right.
So you're going
there'll
to
be
be with 3 kids.
And how
Yeah.
how old are the children?
10, 8 and 6.
Right.
Well, to me, the ideal setup is his sister and her partner in one room, you and him in another, and the kids, who will really have fun in a room by themselves.
What will happen if you suggest that to him, Kelly?
I've suggested it, and I've said, how does he feel about sharing, like, us having different rooms? And he said, oh,
Yeah.
well, that's how it's got to be. And he's just sort of relying on me to take care of the kids, but that's how it's been from day one.
It sounds like you need a good chat, doesn't it?
It sounds like he needs to realise it's 2014. Because what he's proposing really is more appropriate to Victorian times.
Yes.
You're the little woman, and you'll do all the minding and the worrying and the being awake half the night, and he, the man of the house, will have a lovely, lovely sleep. It's not on. And really, this is not about holidays at all. It's him not having a real idea of where you stand in this relationship. He doesn't...
Literally, it's make or break. Like,
Yeah.
it's been like this for a while, and
Right.
like literally, his kids will say, "Can we stop at your house?" He'll go to the pub. I'm spending time on the Wii. I'm drawing pictures.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm doing this and other, and I get to a point where I'm that tired that I just have to go to bed and send him
Yeah.
to bed. And it's been like this for a while, so God knows what it's going to be like on holiday.
Well, it sounds like he'll be the only one having a holiday if you do it like that. How is the best way to address it?
She has, I think you have 2 options. One is to say, I'm just going to do as he suggests for this holiday, but when I come back, I'm going to tell him that I'm going to relate, and he can come with me or not, because it is make or break. Or you can say to him now, I'm not having that arrangement. If that's all you can offer me, then what we have between us is at risk, if not over. I think you have got to get through to him how serious you are and how he can't treat you like this. He's treating you as a convenience and not as the woman in his life. It may be that he's been brought up to think like that, in which case it's up to you to bring him
Change his mindset,
into
yeah.
2014. But this
Literally,
is
like,
not fair.
I take his kids everywhere. Like, I take him swimming, ice skating, you name it, I've done it. But he won't take my daughter anywhere.
Well, I think Denise is right. I think you need a good chat and maybe lay it on the line now.
I hope that Denise has helped you, Kelly.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Good
All right,
luck,
thank you.
Kelly.
Yeah,
good luck.
Kelly.
She deserves better than
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
terrible.
Oh, absolutely. Goodness me. Stacey.
Hi.
Hello.
Hiya.
Hello. What story have you got to tell us?
Well, my first holiday was actually my honeymoon. I'd never been abroad in my life before. First day into the honeymoon, my husband decided to get stupefied drunk. So the whole of our honeymoon, we had to get separate rooms.
Oh no.
And every holiday after that, every year, the same thing. So I was either stuck in my apartment on my own or had to get separate rooms. The upsetting thing was the honeymoon, because it was on a ship. I actually ordered an outdoor cabin, and because I had to be moved away from him, they gave me an inside cabin, and I didn't go outside the door. And all through that, he was out on karaoke, getting drunk with complete strangers. I just don't understand why I didn't learn my lesson the first time. I've had 6 other holidays with him, and the same thing has happened over and over
And
again.
is it only on holiday, or does this happen at
on
home?
holiday, and
So is it that he goes out? I'm just trying to understand. So he goes out the first night and gets really drunk.
Yeah.
And then what, you have a row, and then you have to just be separated for the rest of the holiday.
well, no, what he does, he just goes out on his own. He'll talk to anybody and everybody. And where I'm quite a shy person, I would end up staying in my room out of embarrassment
Right.
because of other people, in the same on the same holiday group with us. I'd feel as if like they were looking down at me because of the state he
Because
used to
he was
get
got
in.
himself in
Yeah,
such a
yeah.
state, right? I see.
But it doesn't happen back home. It's just on holiday.
It does happen at home, but not as bad, because at home you have family. You've got
Yes, you can escape a little more rather than being in a confined space, I guess. of
yeah.
this
When
person.
you're abroad, you don't know
So-
anyone. It's horrifying. I'd never ever go away with him again. Never.
Did you discuss this with him? Did you say when you came home, that was ghastly?
Well, what happened, coming home, I ended up sitting on the front of the aeroplane and he sat at the back
Oh,
and
my
met
Lord.
another man, and they just continually drank. I didn't see him for a week, and a week after the holiday he would be constantly ringing me and apologising and saying, I'll make it up to you, I'll take you away again, it'll never happen again. And then, as I say, it was just, did happen again and again and again.
Do you think that he was afraid of a holiday? Because that sounds like the kind
Like
of
he's running away
behaviour
from
of
it.
somebody who is so scared and uncomfortable that he's lost sight of how he ought to behave. I mean, when you got on the plane, who decided that you would sit apart?
Well, the morning of leaving to get on the plane, we were sitting on separate seats on the coach. He was very hungover, very smelly and drunk.
No.
And then getting on the plane, I spoke to one of the air hostess, and they said, we'll put you at the front.
Denise, is there another issue here? Is
I
this
think
Yeah.
alcohol?
there's something going on here. This man is made so... because he doesn't seem to be as bad as that the rest of the time, and there's something happens to him when you go on holiday. Are you still together?
No.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Well, I think that if after that first disastrous honeymoon you had done something about it, you might have sorted it out. There's a deep issue here, but if it's over, put it behind you and move on. Better holidays to come.
Yes.
Thank you, Stacey.
Only good holidays from here on in, Stacey.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And you all look so lovely. Thank you.
Oh,
thank you so much, Stacey.
Stacey.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Denise.
Thank
you very much.
You're not as bad as on holiday as I thought you were.
No.
Goodness
not.
me. I know.
Doing okay. Still to come, we're sticking with the holiday theme, making sure your kids stay safe poolside. Jeff Brazier's got a few ideas.